once I think Ashwini starts the recording.
So, good evening to everyone, and I welcome all the participants who have come into this wonderful masterclass on Friday evening, Coaching the Invisible. And today I have with me Rashmi. I have had the honor to be coached by her. Last year I think she coached me for a couple of sessions, and I had this experience of systemic methodology for the first time, and being a coach myself, to learn something so different was a unique experience. So when Rashmi reached out to me that I would like to do a master class, I was more than happy. I think this is one thing we all should learn as coaches is new methodologies, new skills, whatever we can add on. And I'm so glad to host this, Rashmi. Thank you for thinking about me at that time. So before we begin, Rashmi, I would like you to introduce yourself in your own words as what do you see yourself as a coach and as a person?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Simmi. So thank you so much to the community, the guiding light community, the coaching circle community. So I'm very, very grateful for being a part of this community and for this opportunity to kind of share what I am learning through this systemic work. I'm a student of the systemic coaching and constellation for 1.5 year plus now, and I am a coach from almost 2022 full time into coaching. So a little bit about me. I have my educational background in electrical engineering and masters in human resources, and worked with organizations in the human resources space, leading various HR roles. In terms of coaching, I work in the leadership space, so leadership coaching, team coaching, and specifically in the leadership space, using systemic coaching to ease and bring more coherence for leadership conditions and to bring high performance. Because when the conditions for the team and the leader and the organizations are worked on, then that creates the field for the organization to be healthy, to thrive. And that's where the systemic coaching works, like at the grassroots level, create those conditions. So that's been my mission for myself, that how can I contribute through coaching and through systemic work into the field of organizations to bring more healthier organizations which are sustainable, and healthier culture overall. I'm also a mentor coach, so I work with learner coaches who are on their ACC, PCC credentialing journey. I work with an organization in that space and also run my own independent practice. I moved to Luxembourg 2 years back from India, and I am an avid traveler. So I have traveled, I think, 40 countries in the last 1 year. And that is something which really energizes me and opens up my mind to looking at things in very, very different way than what I have uh, held as a way of looking. So I'm very grateful for that as well. I am a mother of a 4.5 year old, and that's been an exhilarating journey for me as well. So yeah, that is about me. Thank you.
Wow, that's so wonderful, to hear about your coaching journey and what you're bringing to the organizations. And I'm coming, me being a doctor, coming from a space of public health where, working with these large organizations, again, working at the grassroots level, I had experienced the power of coaching during, when we were doing this polio eradication, and it was very, very challenging to the team, to translate things at field. So I know what coaches can do, Rashmi, and what transformation they can bring, even before I became a coach myself. So, and sharing this journey about you being in Luxembourg, as we had spoken even earlier, traveling to countries and opening your mind to so many nationalities, different cultures. So it's really nice to learn from you today, and I think we should just start this session so that we can witness what coaching the invisible is all about. Yeah. So
So, yeah.
yeah, tell me, should we go
Yeah,
ahead with
I
the?
just wanted to check once more with all the participants who have
Yes,
joined. And
yes.
in case anyone wants to be the client, there is an
Right.
open opportunity, and we are very, very happy to do that. Or else, of course, Simmi would be the client if.
So if among all these participants, anyone wants to be the volunteer and experience this, it's really a wonderful opportunity. And in through the guiding lights and coaches circle, even though we are recording it right now, if you do not wish to share it, we will not be sharing it. If that is one thing that I want to clarify. And
Rashmi, we
it
have done this before. I'm Nirali. Hi. I
I
think we have done this in one of the peer coaching sessions. So I'm just like a little, being a little careful that is it that or
Yes.
it's something even more?
Yes, yes. I think you have experienced it,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Nira.
So I
Yes.
don't mind because it's like not an unknown space for me. I don't mind participating if anybody else doesn't want to. I'm happy to support.
oh, that would be wonderful.
Um,
Uh,
Rashmi,
Rupanjali?
yes, I
Yeah.
am quietly standing there with my hand raised.
Oh,
Yes, yes, please, please. I'm happy to, because I've already experienced it once. So if she wants to go through the experience, I'm happy to allow, please.
To be very honest, I was not at all prepared to come on video. But the way the session started, and after listening to Rashmi, Simi is of course a very dear friend. So I did not want to lose the opportunity. I don't care how I look. I just jumped in. That okay, before
Yeah,
anybody raises the hand, let me just
yeah.
go all in. And I also want to experience what this systematic coaching and constellation, like I hope I'm getting it right, but I want to experience it myself. So yeah, let's go.
Sure,
So
sure, sure.
please don't publicly publish it anywhere because I'm literally looking homeless.
oh. All right, all right. If that is the case, no
Okay.
issue with that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Rupanjali, fine. Yeah.
perfect.
Mm.
Rashmi, okay with you?
Yes. Okay, okay with me. Just check, I think, with Ashwini if we really need the recording for the session or it should be okay if.
She told me, she had messaged me, Ashwini, that if the recording, like she is recording, but if it is not to be shared, it will that will be taken care of. So I think
Sure. Okay, probably we can, towards the end, we can edit the part and
she
we can
can
just
pause.
share.
She said she can pause the recording. So we can do one thing, that we can pause the recording during the demo and restart it when you're doing the presentation. Even that can be done. Works with you?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Over here who's present. We would like to learn more about this, hear more, and of course there will be questions. So Rashmi, please let it
Hmm.
flow.
Sure. So I would let the floor open first for questions. And
Right.
I have something which I can show in like 15 minutes or so. But if you have any questions which are coming immediately from the demonstration, I'm happy to answer those first.
Yeah. So if anyone has a question, you're most welcome. And Rashmi will answer it for you. You can come on camera, or you can type it on the chat. I'll take it up from there.
Yes, Neta.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Rashmi, for this very powerful thing that you did today. I could sense your energy, and very frankly speaking, as Rupanjali was going through her dilemma, I could work through some of mine as well. You know, um, I just loved how you didn't encourage her to see fear in terms of polarities, right? In the polarity of either not having it or having it to serve the purpose of the goal, but just looking at it neutrally. I am picking that up as a very strong element for me. Thank you.
Yes, yeah. Just so to add here to what you brought as a feedback, this work, the systemic work, as one of the stands for this work is being useful and not helpful. So when you are useful from a distance, you are able to see things just as it is. Like you don't try to associate right or wrong with things, and you just see them as it is. So that's one of the stands for this work, that you have a distance from the client's field. You as a coach, you maintain your distance. You don't get engulfed in the story that the client is bringing. So you keep that distance, and you're able to see things as neutrally as possible from that distance, just as it is, acknowledging what as it is, no right or wrong. So yeah, thank you for bringing that.
Thanks, Rashmi.
So
So
probably
far,
there's
yeah,
no other question. We can start.
no.
I can share some of. Yeah.
I just have
Okay.
one more
So
question.
yes.
Sorry. I just have. I'm just curious to know.
Yeah.
Um, she alluded to anger, right? I'm just curious to know what made you not bring that into the space, because I think I would have been judgmental enough to bring it into the space. So I'm just, how did you hold yourself, uh,
Hmm.
you know, neutral all the while, not bringing that into the space?
Hmm. So in this work, if you would have noticed, I was trying to use some sentences of truth. I was saying that what will be the most truest statement here to say, or what is the truth here. So those sentences, or we also call it in the systemic language, resonant sentence. So what resonates with the client is a resonant sentence. So the coach might offer something as the statement that, they are also sensing, because here in this work, the coach also uses their own body uh, to access the field. Whatever I'm sensing intuitively, I also share that. I also share that observation, and I try to access the field of the client there. So that when we do the resonant sentences, when we offer sentences to the client, we keep it as neutral as possible, and we keep it only factual. So whenever I have to say a sentence, I cannot say it in an angry tone. I cannot say it in a complaining tone. So we have to keep it off the drama, any kind of drama, or any kind of as neutral as possible, basically. So that's why, although anger was there as an emotion or feeling and could be explored, what I was sensing in my body was that it would not have been useful in the field of the client to go there more, but there is something else that the client is feeling stuck with. So I went there and spent more time there in those past experiences. Or like if it was a private session, it goes more deeper, because the client is able to open up more and they can touch a few more areas. But here I was trying, that's why I was trying to keep it like the sentences were neutral. So that's why the anger was kind of moved away and then seen more in the neutral way, that how do you want to say the truth of that situation.
Great. Thanks for the clarification. Really great.
Rupanjali, yeah.
Yes, I actually have one question. Because just now when I've come out of the experience, now one thing that you did with me was when you asked me to look at this anger, the fear, it came up with emotion, but you asked me to look at it with compassion. I think that was one major thing which changed the perspective of everything. And after that, it was very okay. Now I understand this. Now I understand this. So, like, why did you specifically ask me to look at that fear or whatever that thing I could be? Why did you specifically ask me to look at it with compassion? Was it something specific that we were trying to do here, or is it like, I want to understand why that word compassion uh, was used.
Yeah, this stance of distance that I spoke about, the complete thing is distance with compassion. So everything that we see from a distance, we see it with compassion, and we see it as it is. So that's why compassion is an important stance here in this work when we do that. And
Got it.
I have never used that in my constellation practice before this. This is the first time it just came. So maybe it came from your field. Maybe the field required it to come. So that's how I see it. I don't think I have,
Okay.
Simmi, I have used that word with you or
No,
any
no.
other practice. It was very surprising for me also that it came today.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You used that.
Most welcome.
Okay.
It came for you, yes.
I think Achin has raised his hand.
Thank you, Simmi.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question. When the coach asked Kochi, who do you think in your family will be happy that you hold that fear? And the coachee said, surprisingly, no one. And I'm curious, why did you use the word surprisingly? And I'm asking this because Simi and I yesterday discussed about undertone of words. So why
Yeah.
was it a surprising thing? I'm very curious. I'd like to explore that, if that's okay.
Is that a question for me?
Yeah, Rupanjali, it's for you.
Okay.
Oh, no, or
So
maybe if Rashmi thinks it's not a great question, we can skip it. Like, I
No,
was
it's
just
okay.
curious.
All questions are welcome, actually.
okay. So now I'm thinking about it now when you asked me that question, that why did I use that word? I think simply because, we all have this notion that we are doing it because somebody's making us do it, right? We are doing it because of somebody else. We rarely think about us as a first person. So maybe, a lot of times we will always be in the victim mode, that it is happening because of A person, because of B person. And I also believe in that you have to look at yourself also with the same lens. So because I was doing that, and I was also being very neutral when I was looking at everybody, that's how I said that surprisingly, it's nobody else, it's me. That's how it came up. But thank you for this question. It's a nice observation.
And just to add here, to because we are discussing this, like the question that I asked, and I think it's also very surprising to hear such question in a coaching framework. So here in the systemic work, um, there we check these loyalties. Like, so there are these hidden loyalties that we hold on to from all the systems that we have been a part of, our family of origin or our education system or our past professional system in which we have belonged. So mostly our family of origin is the most strongest connection that we have in terms of the beliefs that we have built, in terms of the patterns that we have built for ourselves. So sometimes when we are very loyal to either, say, for example, our mother, father, or grandmother, grandfather, or anyone in the family of origin, then we continue to unconsciously hold some patterns because of that loyalty that we have. And we are not aware of that. So that's why I was checking with her that is there anything that is coming from there for her? And it was not coming from there, but it could also be sometimes from any of the major events or experiences that we have been a part of. That kind of creates that for us. So I was checking that.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying, because now that I think of it, I was more surprised at the question than the answer also. I was like, that's too
Yes.
direct hitting question, right? Like, yeah.
Yes, yes. And of course, it is not in the framework of the ICF way of coaching. Systemic coaching is a facilitation process. So it goes in all of these areas as well. So it goes in the past to touch the past so that you are able to feel more resourced and whole today. So if there is anything that is making you feel stuck because of any, people or events, it doesn't shy away from going there, touching it, acknowledging it neutrally, including it in today's reality. And with that includedness, with that wholeness, you are able to feel more complete today and you're able to move forward. So that is what this technique does.
Nirali?
Hi, thank you, Rashmi. So, Rashmi, I want to hold on to this question, the statement that you said that whatever we have in the family, we acknowledge whatever is coming to us in the form of a pattern. So, let's say if loyalty is coming down to me from my family, in the same way, maybe there is some negative emotion that might also coming down to me from my family, and I might looking at it subconsciously belonging to it. And that's why, like, I'm carrying it forward also, kind of, I'm living it today in the present. How do you I'm just like curious, how do you acknowledge that negative emotion? It could be disloyalty. Let's say, for instance, it is disloyalty, everyone has been at some stage or the other with people or situations disloyal. Work, maybe they've been disloyal. And today, if I am disloyal, how do I acknowledge that and let it go? Because somewhere I want to break the pattern and I recognize that disloyalty is not useful to me today. So I'm consciously using the word useful and not helpful. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Very, very beautiful point. So, if there is something that you want to kind of explore from your family of origin or from past, say, professional system, that, for example, I was a part of a system where the manager was difficult and I had a difficult experience, and now today I carry it because of what happened. So, you can always, in using this framework or method, you can always go back to that and again use a neutral a representative, of course, for the person you want to kind of explore the relationship, because all of this system is a relational system. It's an interpersonal relationship system, so everything is happening in relation to either people or events or experiences, etc. So you can bring that in the map. You can bring the representative of the person you want to explore this with. And then there is a way of doing it in this method. First, you do the mapping, you see where the client is with respect to this experience, or what was true about this experience. So, for example, if I had difficulty with my mother, I could say that you are my mother and I am your child. This is a truth. This is a universal truth. Nobody can deny that this is the truth. I had a difficulty with you. This is my truth, that I had difficult time with you. I wish you would see me uh, more as you saw my brother, like if there was a conflict. So whatever is truth, whatever is the truth for that person, we acknowledge those truths. So we start with acknowledging in a neutral tone what was the truth. We look at what was difficult. So we also acknowledge that difficulty. We acknowledge what are the wishes. If there was a wish, we acknowledge that wish. And we also see what they received from that relationship, because sometimes in the anger of that experience we are not able to see what we are grateful for or what we have received from that, or sometimes we are not able to separate things. So if there was a difficulty, probably also acknowledging that my mother had her own difficulty, so I can see now you had your own difficulty, and I leave that with you because that was your difficulty that was projected on me at that time. So I leave that with you, and I carry whatever I have received from you. Like if there was anything that you received, if you've not received anything, that's also okay. But you kind of neutrally separate what was there, and I am carrying it. It is not mine to carry. If there is a negative thing that I'm carrying from my mother, which is not mine to carry, I kind of separate it and I say that. And I then acknowledge that what is mine to carry, or from any relationship, for example. And then I just speak the truth of that, and then kind of, and then the client is able to feel at ease while we do that. So it's possible to explore any difficulty in this method in this way.
So do you help people to resolve past on karmas also through this?
No, we don't go into all of that, like, because this methodology, the way I have learned it, is applied in the leadership and organizational and team coaching space. So usually we keep it small and focused, and we touch if there are any difficulties coming, but we don't go too much in like in the past karmas and all. There we're not trained to do that in this method. I have not been trained to do that. So it's only about, for an organization, it could be, for example, a leader is joining a new team and is not able to feel their authority because the past manager left in a difficult way. So this current manager who has come in is not able to get the kind of respect from the team is not feeling at ease in this role. So when I do a systemic work with this person, they also acknowledge what the previous person has done or contributed in this role. So they are not only coming into this role thinking only about themselves, but they are able to acknowledge who was there before them. So I will also explain you the few of the principle of this work and why I'm saying what I'm saying in terms of this question. But so these kind of difficulties, like the leader is not able to assume their role, the leader is finding difficulty in clarity, is not able to get clarity in some of the challenges they are facing with respect to their team. Team coaching, members are not acknowledged for their contribution. So there is conflict in the team, there is lack of collaboration in the team. The goal of the team is not very clear. The purpose of the team is not very clear. The vision is not very clear. And if there is a pattern that I see, like for individual coaching, if there is a pattern that is repeated for a person, so there it becomes very useful. If the person is not able to resolve things, like they have tried multiple methods and they're not able to resolve, so then this method of mapping reveals some hidden things for them, new way of looking at it. So this is how it gets integrated. It is also useful in the diagnostics phase in the organizational work. So while we are doing the diagnosis, this could be used, the mapping could be used to see if everything is in place. So that's how it is.
Thank you. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Welcome.
Oh, Rashmi, would you like to share something more about systemic coaching?
Yes, I'll do that. So first, I'll just share that there are three basic principles of the systemic work. The first principle is the principle of time. So what came first needs to be given their respectful place. For example, in an organizational setting, if it is a founder who started the organization, they need to be acknowledged for their that they started this organization. The leaders who came later cannot assume that we are the one who are the only people who need to be recognized. Like they also need to recognize that there are people who started this organization, and due respect and acknowledgement needs to be given to who came first in the system. In a family system, our life came through our parents. So that is the order in which life came. That is the order in which a system was formed. So these natural system or orders of nature needs to be acknowledged. Then only a system could be balanced or be coherent and have flow and can be healthy. So in a family dynamic, in a family system, our life came through our parents, and that order needs to be acknowledged. In organizational system, if, for example, if there was a person who came first in the system, has more experience, needs to be acknowledged for them coming first in this system. So something like that's called the order of time, or first principle, the principle of time. The second principle is the principle of place. So everyone who has contributed in a team needs to be acknowledged respectfully, and everyone needs to have belonging in that team, in that system. For example, in a family system, everyone needs to have their respectful place. So if anyone is excluded, then it is violating the principle of place, that there is exclusion happening in the family, there is exclusion happening in the team. So the second one is the principle of place, that everyone needs to have their rightful place. And hence you can imagine in an organization, when in a team people do not have clarity about their role and don't feel a part of their team, we can see a lack of coherence and a lack of performance in the team. So that's the principle of place, that everything has a place and needs to be given their rightful place. The third principle is the principle of exchange. So if I give too much and I don't receive, then that creates a disbalance in the system. Um, if, for example, if you can see that in the organizational system, they're working with a lot of different stakeholders, a lot of small organizations, etc. So if they don't reciprocate, like whatever they have received, they are not given back that either acknowledgement or a due credit for that or payment for that, then that balance, that system will always suffer. For example, for coach in the coaching community, for coaches, if they're giving too much, and they are not receiving the worth or the proper money for whatever they have been giving as a service, then the client will never receive the value of that coaching. So it's very, very common. You can see that, like, for example, countries like USA, if they think that they can consume a lot and then it can be just ignored, and they don't need to take responsibility for that, then somewhere the ozone layer or the air thinning will happen, and it is going to impact all the countries. It's not going to leave one country. So everything that we do will always be coming back to us. There is a balance of exchange that is happening in nature all the time, and this principle is the principle of exchange, that and the systemic sentences that I did were also coming from this principle of exchange. So when uh, the client was talking to fear, there was not only uh, there was also some receiving happening from the fear. The fear was there for some reason. And until the client could receive what they were getting from the fear, they couldn't feel at ease. So there was this exchange that happened. So all these sentences are mostly are coming from the principle of exchange. That what am I receiving? What am I giving in this relationship? I acknowledge that. So that's the third principle, the principle of exchange. So major these three principles, the stances are that, there is a distance, there is a compassionate distance that we hold. We are useful and not helpful to the client. So we again, maintain that distance. And it also comes from, as I was saying, that it comes from originated in the family systems. So the work, this work has been almost, it's been 20 years that, like, I have learned from John Whittington, coaching Constellations, and he took around 20 years to transition this work from family constellation to organizational constellation. So he was a student of Bert Hellinger, and that's where he has learned this work from. So Bert used to work with families, and in families, whenever there was a challenge of harmony, like there was lack of harmony in the family, they used to have representative and they used to do this work. So that is where this work has come from. I'll also show you a few more things. Today, I don't think we have just 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's all.
I can. So yeah, so the main application is for broadening the awareness, bringing change. Flow of life is very important because this methodology restores the flow, which is feeling like, if you're feeling stuck in something, it is very useful in restoring that flow and in leadership development space. Uh, so belonging is at the heart of this work. So because we are all born as a part of a family, and that is where we have learned how to belong, how to feel this, to have this feeling of belonging, what is right, what is not right to do, how do we become a member of this family, what will continue to keep our belonging to this system, and what if we do something which will make us feel guilty and we will not be a part of the system because of which. So belonging has really shaped all of this work. And as you might have been seeing that in this coaching space, and the principles that I speak to are also coming somewhere from this principle of belonging, that our basic need as humans is to belong. So it comes from there. So we all are born in the first system that we know of is the family system. And that is where we learn everything, like how to be a member of the system, how to behave in the system, what is right, what is wrong for the system, and how do we continue to maintain our membership in this system. And the system is a part of a larger social system, like a place that we called our homeland. It's a part of that social system where we were born. And from there, we move to the first new system, that is the education system. So education system is where we then start reflecting on if the things that we learned in the family system as the set of rules, are they still working for us or not? And then we start, either distancing or continuing to be close to whatever we have learned in our family system as the set of values or rhythms, etc. And from there, uh, I think all of you can remember that the first time that you joined a professional system, the first work system you joined, and how it felt. Um, how did it feel to join that system? How did it feel to belong in that system? And how did it feel to leave that system? And this knowing is there in your body, and you're carrying that the way that it felt to, join, belong, and leave that system. And the way you joined, belonged, and left that system had an impact on the second system that you would have joined, and the way you would have joined that system and belonged in that system. And some of us would have maybe felt shaky in being a part of all these systems, and we decided to have our own independent system. So we decided to be an independent, decided to be a coach. So we said that, okay, this kind of belonging is not something that is working for me, and I will be a part of a different kind of belonging. And you move, into a different system for yourself. So this is how the cycle of joining, belonging, and leaving in our life continues to happen, and has an impact on who we are and how we show up today. This work is a relational work. It is happening in an interrelationship system. So when we say system, the system is an interrelational system. And in this interrelational system, there are hidden dynamics, there are patterns, and there are hidden resources. So as you see a flock of bird flying, there is always, and you can also see that they form these beautiful patterns while flying. So they have this information system between them that we are not aware of, which allows them to form these patterns. So there are these hidden information that is always there in a system. And this methodology enables us to access that hidden information in a system. So it is useful and applicable for looking at the whole world issues to bring more balance and flow in all of these systems. I was saying initially, that this work is to create coherence and flow in not only the person that is you, the coach, because when you are able to see at all of your systems that you have been a part of, you will be able to see your client with all of the systems that they are bringing in front of you. So this is very, very important to first work on ourselves as coaches, that we are able to feel whole, we are able to feel complete, we are able to see our own, John calls it peacock tails. So all these eyes in the peacock tails, these are all the systems we are carrying behind us. So if we are able to see all of our systems clearly while by going through work, we can also look at our clients. We can then move towards our client and not only see the issue the client is bringing, but also see all the peacock tails behind that client, all the systems that is behind that client, and what context is the client coming from. So today, the client was only talking about going out, completely getting clarity on that. But with this approach, you will also be able to see if there are some hidden dynamics the client is bringing, the hidden system the client has been a part of, and there is some information in those systems. So what is it that the client is carrying? So you'll be able to see it in a systemic way. In the organizational context, it kind of shifts you from looking at a linear perspective of, okay, like we see an organizational chart, to a very complex organizational system, which is moving at a very fast pace in a very strange world. And there is joining, belonging, and leaving happening constantly. So, there is so much information that is happening in the organization at a constant basis. So this methodology enables you to access that field and that field of information, hidden resources, and then you enable the client to feel more resourced. You have already seen the demonstration. So this part explains that, this is a visual methodology. This is a mapping methodology. It's a shared map between you and your client, and the coach is facilitating the process, and it moves the client away from only cognitive way of thinking about a problem to a whole body process. So you would have experienced that in today's demo, that I was checking with the client what are they feeling in their body multiple times, because this process happens in the body. You are accessing all your the intelligence of your whole body here in this process, and that is always true. What your body is telling you is always true. Like the stories that you're making can take you some other places, can distract you, but the intelligence of the body is very true. So this process kind of enables the client to access the intelligence of their body. So that is how this works, and this is useful. And this method could be integrated in any part of the coaching process, in a diagnostic or goal setting process, or in between, etc. These are some of the resources like I have learned from coaching Constellations. I have done trainings from there. I have also, so there is a book, Systemic Coaching and Constellation by John Whittington, which you can read. There is one called Invisible Dynamics, and there is another one by Bert, Acknowledging What Is. So if you're interested in knowing more about this work, then these three books I would recommend. Yes.
I think that was wonderful, Rashmi. Such, this entire presentation, there was so much clarity in how you did what you did today. And like when I had read this word, na, coaching the invisible, so I wondered what that invisible is all about. So today I could actually understand, and I'm sure everybody who witnessed the demonstration understood that what is invisible. And the other thing is that acknowledging things really changes the perspectives for us. Now, one thing that I am very curious of is there any challenge you face when you are doing this? And if so, then how do you overcome them?
Yeah, I think challenges were there. Like in between, I will try to question myself sometimes as a facilitator, that the client is going in too much story, but I want to keep the client focused on this, and this is the way this method works. So what should I do? Should I interrupt? Or so what I have realized in the journey is that each client is unique, and you let it be. Like sometimes they don't even, the client will not understand when you say that what is the statement of truth here, what is really true here. But the field knows everything, and I am only in the service of that field. So I, like, a method or a coach cannot be bigger than the field. The field is the biggest. when I'm working with the client. And my biggest learning has been to be surrendered to the field, that the field will illuminate what needs to be illuminated. So now I don't like, there is nothing that I carry with me when I have to go. No preparation or nothing. Just going there in the service of the field.
Being in the element, just so yeah. And one another thing that came up to my mind, like when I was watching the demonstration, we know, like, that it's very different from traditional coaching, at least the ICF way, right? So you have practiced both modalities. So what do you see as the biggest difference in both these ways of coaching, and how are you even seeing the impact on the client vis-a-vis the standard coaching, the competencies that we follow from ICF point of view, and from the systemic coaching?
In my journey, the ICF way of coaching has been foundational for me, like to set my foundation very, very strong. All these competencies have been very, very useful for me. And even today, like I keep going back as I work as a mentor coach as well. So I keep, using those. And when I have worked in this field now, in the field of systemic coaching, I can see how they come together as well. I see the integration of both. And that's what I also do in terms of my work, that I integrate it for my client, depending on, where the client is coming from, where the client is. Some of the clients are not very visual in their style. They are more auditory. Then I don't use this method. Like I only use it when it is useful for the client. So that's how I see that, because we are working with different clients with different needs and different context. That the competency of ICF, that you work with the client unique style, is
Right.
important. So that's what I do.
Right. That's very interesting, actually, what you shared, because I think it empowers you as a coach, that you have different tools that can be used, and of course within the framework of the competencies. There was a question which Manmeet had asked, that when you were doing the presentation, that is the family constellation, is it different from this, about that? So could you just share some points about it?
Yes, so family constellation is the original work from where this work has been derived. And then in terms of transitioning it into organizational space, yes, this method has been uh, transitioned in a way that is easier for in the organizational context to explain, to work with, because in family constellation we use representatives, like per people representative in a seminar format, where we call a lot of neutral representatives and we work with them, and they become like, they also share their sensations, which helps us to know more about that issue. In this work, we use either three-dimensional representatives in person, or as I showed you, or in a digital way, we use these digital representatives. And yes, there has been a lot of changes that have been made to the family constellation to make apply this in the organizational leadership space.
Right.
But yeah, the
So
basic principles remain the same. The basic
yeah,
principles are the same. Yes.
yes, yes. Right. So, is there anything anyone wants to add? You're most welcome. I think there have been a lot of messages, Rashmi, on the group, for your presence and for demonstrating it so excellently and explaining it in a very logical way. And I think a lot of people are interested in reading the books. And one thing, if suppose someone wants to learn this, so could you just share with us, how do we go about it?
Like there are different schools that provide this training, so you can search which one like you find more resonance with.
Hmm.
I trained with the school coaching constellations.com. You
Okay.
can find more information about them there. I think the first step would be to read this book,
Hmm.
Systemic Coaching and Constellation. John Whittington, or the other book, Invisible Dynamics, either of these books, and see if you resonate with this work. And if you resonate with this work, then you can probably think about the trainings part as well.
All right. That was very helpful. And thank you, everyone. If anyone wants to add something, because we are, we have just crossed our time. So if anyone wants to add. All right, Rashmi. I think all the messages have come. Yes, I can see Ranjit clapping. Thank you so much. And it was wonderful. It's a very fruitful Friday evening, I must say, for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank,
And
thank you,
I hope
Simmi.
to host you again, Rashmi, over something, maybe another session where we could take this forward. So,
Yes.
happy weekend, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank
God
you,
bless. Thank you.
everyone. Thank you, Simmi.